Hello, welcome back to another Top 10. I had recently heard that Scott Snyder is going to leave Batman, probably after issue 52. And they're going to possibly relaunch the book to number 1. And this is a definite. The book is going to be re-released twice a month. I don't know why DC is doing that particular thing, but these are basically top 10 writers who could succeed Scott Snyder on Batman. First, honorable mentions, and I have 3 of them. First is Neal Adams, a guy who's had a very long running history with Batman, despite the fact that, well, he has recently done another Batman series that came out few years ago. He did Batman Odyssey series, and that's Neal Adams, one of the greatest artists who ever drew Batman. Yes. And he also is a good writer as well, so he would be perfect to do Batman, both writing and artistic stuff. Good. The second one is Grant Morrison. I'm thinking, why Grant Morrison for? Well, simply this. Not only has he had experience writing Batman, he's written like three other titles. And plus, he has said that he's not done with Batman yet, so I wouldn't mind him coming back to doing another run at Batman. And the third and last one is the co-writer of Grayson, Tom King. I think that he could do it. Plus, even though he's writing Omega Men right now, he could do it. Nothing says he can't, despite the fact Grayson is his first Batman title. So he has experience writing Dick Grayson. Why not write Batman? Write Bruce Wayne Batman. If, of course, he decides to want to do it, but it's up to him. Alright, now for my top 10. First up is, this one's not a bit of a surprise. My number 10 is James Tynion IV, the guy who is currently doing the Batman Teen Material Series. This guy has worked with Scott Snyder, and he has proven, in the case, not in the much case of Crystal's Gage, with writing experiment, but James Tynion IV has proved that he can write a Batman series by himself. That in the case of the short-lived title of Talent, which was unexpectedly canceled to make room for Batman Eternal. Despite that, he can write Batman. As a matter of fact, Batman himself actually shows up for 2 issues of that series, and he's written tremendously. So I definitely think that James Tynion IV could definitely do it. Alright? Number 9. Gregg Rucka. Yeah, Gregg Rucka. A guy who, like several heroes, has got tremendous experience writing Batman. I mean, this guy was one of the most prominent writers who's writing the Batman titles, one of the Batman writers of the 2000s. And this guy is a great writer, and he's terrific at writing Batman. As a matter of fact, he wrote one of the greatest Batman series ever written, with Ed Brubaker, and Matthew Lurk, I think his name was. I think he was the artist, but Gotham Central. And Gregg Rucka can do it. And he's a award-winning artist. Not artist, award-winning writer. So I definitely think he could definitely do it. He could succeed in the book. Maybe a little more crime stuff that he could do with the series. Depends what he wants to do. Number 8, Tim Seeley. Even though this guy, this guy does have experience writing Batman, despite the fact that it was on Batman Eternal. And yes, he is taking over New Suicide Squad, so he's writing some Batman characters, and plus, you can see him doing it. And he could definitely do it. He could even take Batman all over the world if he wanted to. Heck, I wouldn't mind if he wrote a Batman miniseries where he did something like that. Something like Europa that Brian Azzarello does. Brian Azzarello didn't make this or even ornaments because he hasn't really done that big a lot of stuff with Batman, but he is a good writer. Alright, number 7. Denny O'Neil. A guy who basically, the man who brought Batman back to his dark roots back in the 70s, and former editor of the Batman books. And the last time he ever wrote a Batman title was back in 2010. So it's not been that long period of time. I mean, it's only been, what, 6 years? I mean, it's not like Gregg Hurwitz a little bit longer, but then Neal could definitely do it. And plus, any Batman book he has written, it has been tremendously good. And I definitely recommend he definitely could do it again. Who knows? He can strike gold twice with Batman. Alright, number 6, and the only woman on this list. And this might be a bit of a surprise for some people to think that this particular writer could do it. Gail Simone. Yes, Gail Simone. The woman who basically wrote one of the best Batman titles ever to come out. One of the best, not the best, one of the best. And that's Birds of Prey. She was one of the longest running writers in the book. As a matter of fact, she succeeded. I mean, she was the first regular writer of the book since Chuck Dixon left, because the book went through a few different writers, and she can write Batman. I mean, that's what they say. She can't write the book, and she doesn't always have the right female characters. She has proven she can write she can write male characters. Look at Catman's Secret Six. He writes him to be awesome. So, in the case of Gail Simone succeeding, could be the writer who could succeed. Scott Snyder, answer is why not? There's no reason that she could. There's no reason why she can't. I mean, she's only doing, what, one title right now, and that's Secret Six. I can't think of any other title she's writing right now. She could do Batman. It might take some time, but it could be worth it. Plus, you can have Catman actually meeting Batman in the current continuity. They haven't done it yet, surprisingly. Alright, number 5. And this was the guy who was Scott Snyder's predecessor on Batman. And the guy who took over Detective Comics right after Scott Snyder. Basically, when New 52 started, this guy swapped books with Scott Snyder, because Scott Snyder was writing Detective Comics, and this guy was writing Batman. And who was this guy? Tony S. Daniel. And his most recent work is Deathstroke. And he could definitely do it again. I mean, if anybody get a chance to read his run on Batman, his run was tremendous. I mean, heck, he even put out gorgeous artwork. He's like Neal Adams. He's the only other person in this list who is both a writer and an artist. And he has proven he could do both. So, why not bring back him? You precede Scott Snyder, he can succeed Scott Snyder. Who knows? Maybe DC might get him. I mean, right now he's not doing anything else. But I definitely recommend he could do it. He's finished his run for Deathstroke. Number 4, the guy who succeeded Tony S. Daniel on Detective Comics, John Layman. Now, as far as for writing currently right now, this guy is only writing one title. And that's soon to be ending Chew. And why not? He has proven that he can write Batman to be competent and write very interesting stories for them. Even though his run didn't last too long in Detective Comics, but he had a very good run on this book. And, I mean, yes, he did spend his first 8 issues focusing on the Penguin, but heck, he moved beyond that and wrote a lot of stuff with Man-Bat. But he made the book interesting. Maybe he can make Batman interesting as well. Alright? Number 3. The guy who succeeded David Finch as a regular writer on Batman: The Dark Knight. Gregg Hurwitz. Yeah, Gregg Hurwitz. Even though Dark Knight is the only title he actually has written, even though the title has since ended, there's nothing that says, so just like Gail Simone, there's nothing that says he can't do it. Just do it. But it all depends upon DC who they point as the succeeding writer of Batman. But Gregg Hurwitz can definitely do it. I mean, he made Dark Knight one of the best-selling titles of DC Comics. For at least, even though his run only lasted for about 20 issues. That's nearly 2 years. He spent that a little over 2 years. He spent the book because the book took at least one hiatus during his run. Was it one? No, I think it was. Yeah, it was one hiatus the book took during the book's run. Actually, it was 2. Yeah, took 2 hiatuses. So basically, he was on this book for a little over 2 years. He could also do a 2-year run on Batman if he wanted to. Heck, he can have the first arc be about a villain he didn't get a chance to do in Dark Knight. I mean, what villain could he do? I mean, he's already done Penguin, Scarecrow, Man-Bat, Mad Hatter, Clayface. Maybe he could do one on, well, he can't do Two-Face. Two-Face apparently he's gone. Maybe he could do one on Killer Moth. It's a possibility. This guy could take a character who has not been used very much over the years and make the character an interesting part, an integral part of a story, and make the book interesting. Definitely. Alright. Number 2. And this might be a tiny bit of a surprise because this guy has written Batman before. As a matter of fact, this is one of the creators of Tim Drake and one of the most prominent writers on the Teen Titans. As a matter of fact, a lot of people consider him to be the greatest Teen Titans writer of all time, Marv Wolfman. Yes, Marv Wolfman. He can definitely do it. And this is the guy who had like a 2-year run. Heck, he was also the one who actually put Tim Drake in the Robin costume officially. Both not only first time, but also officially as well, which also led credence to having his first miniseries back in the early 90s. And he's been writing Batman recently. I mean, heck, he wrote a Batman novel that's part of the Arkham universe. So, why not? He could do it. I mean, he's on good terms with DC Comics. I know his artist friend, George Perez, is technically not because DC kind of shafted him. But Marv Wolfman's still on good terms with DC Comics, so why not? He could do it. And my number one choice who could succeed Scott Snyder on Batman as the writer is, in fact, a guy who's written a good chunk of the Batman titles in the past 5 years. And this guy is Peter J. Tomasi. Yes, Peter J. Tomasi. A guy who has written in the last few years Batman and Robin. He's currently writing Toth Comics. He's going to be writing Batman Superman really soon. He wrote Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight Genesis. He wrote the Arkham Knight Annual. Everything associated with the Arkham universe in the past year, he has written. He has proven for a child that even heck, any fan would say that he could be the best person to succeed Scott Snyder. I mean, yes, the other people on this list definitely could succeed too, but this guy is probably on top of everybody's list who could succeed Scott Snyder on Batman. Alright, that's my top 10 list of writers who could succeed Scott Snyder on Batman. Be sure to comment this video, comment on who your top 10 is. You can even do a video response to this one. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Till then, see you there. Bye.